Hello my fellow paint monsters, I'm Aga and this is Hungry for Paint, a channel about handmade watercolor paints. How has this week been for you? I hope you're doing fine. This Friday I'm going to show you some watercolors from Suuszen from the Netherlands. This time I'm going to combine the review and the color mixing in one video as I've only got 6 colors. I got a dot card of Suuszen watercolors a while ago, about a year ago actually. The dot card came in a little but sturdy cardboard box. Not much adornment here, but the dot card itself is very pleasing aesthetically, very cleanly made, and the dots are generous. So I was able to do the review part, the color mixing part, color blending, testing with ink, and I've still got some paint left. And the sampler was quite affordable, so I think it's a great way to try out these paints. Even though I've had this dot card for about a year, the paints work perfectly, they activate pretty much instantly. The colors are very juicy and the paints are extremely pigmented. The purple color called Purple is insanely pigmented. It can be very dark. The cyan turquoise is a very strong color as well. These watercolors flow very nicely, they're really pleasant to work with, they layer nicely, they do not rub off the paper, some of them do stain a little bit. So if you rub a sheet of paper against your artwork, you're not going to see any difference on what you've painted, but some of the color might transfer to the other paper. But it only happens to a rather small degree and only with chalk yellow, purple and cyan turquoise. And turquoises and teals in general stain very often. They often use the phthalo blue pigment, PB15, and it's a very staining pigment, it's just its property, so there's not really a lot you can do about it. Quinacridone rose stains very slightly, you sort of have to try to pick up some color from the paper. And these paints work quite nicely with layering, so no problems here. On to the mixing part of the video. These colors are very bright, clean, so you're going to get some pretty good clear mixes here. The chalk yellow is a slightly pastel yellow, not as intense as a lemon yellow would be, but with quinacridone rose and cyan turquoise they make a great primary trio. The oranges are going to be more on the pastel side because of the yellow not being that bright, but the range of purples and blues is quite amazing. And there's quite a lot of great greens as well. As you can see, the colors here are really bright and vibrant. I like how these blend. These work really nicely together on the paper. They're quite active and I like how they mingle together. You can get some really smooth transitions here. And in the ink test part here, where I use my Sakura Pigma Micron pen and first paint on top of it, then I wait until the paint dries and draw another line on top of the dried paint. You can see that these paints are mostly transparent enough for you to draw first and then color in. Sea green is slightly opaque. Apparently it's got some white in it, so that's to be expected. And here a similar story with chalk yellow. These two are slightly opaque. The rest work just fine if you paint on top of your line work, and if you prefer to paint first and then do your line work on top of the watercolor, The line does not get blurry, it doesn't feather, but it does get a little bit thicker, so you need to take that into account. So overall, these are some really nice watercolors. If you like bright tones, good for mixing juicy secondary colors, then I think these are for you. They're well pigmented, they're easy to work with, they re-wet very well, and overall I just think these are some enjoyable paints. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment down below, and you can always support Hungry for Paint on Ko-fi. All the links are in the description of this video, and don't forget to visit Hungry for Paint on Instagram on Wednesday for a sneak peek of our next paint maker. See you next week. Bye bye.